Shalom, shalom, shalom is real. First and foremost, we must acknowledge our Heavenly Father, Yahweh, through His only begotten Son, Yahushua, for allowing this word to come out, man. I hope you sincere brothers and sisters are edified by this word. Once again, it's Sunday, so-called Sunday, the first day of the week. I'm just now leaving Planet Fitness Midtown here in Milwaukee. It's the predominantly Jake area. So where I'm at right now, you know, it's a lot of different elements, a lot of different things you might hear in the background, so bear with me. But in today's word, man, I want to speak about mental illness and giving grace to those who suffer from it. I'm gonna say it again. I want to talk about mental illness, the importance of mental illness, and giving grace to those who suffer from it. Here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, most recently, there was a guy that was killed by security personnel at the Hyatt Hotel. You guys can look this up. It's a national story. Look up the guy that was killed at the Hyatt Hotel. At the Hyatt Hotel in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, downtown, Hyatt Hotel, you see? And the thing about it is, this guy suffered, you know, he had some type of mental illness going on. And so the reason why I want to bring this to the forefront is because, brothers and sisters, with everything that's going on in life, we got to be conscious of mental illness, understand mental illness, recognize mental illness, because it's at least 2 people here in Milwaukee have been murdered due to the lack of people recognizing and understanding mental illness. Okay? And Mark, before I get into this, let me just give you Mark, man. Mark 5, verse 6 through 13, it talks about a group of demons that possessed a man. A man was possessed with a group of demons, right? I told y'all where I'm at. Now, I don't know, every time, it never fails. Like, some guy decides to come out of the gym and want to talk on his phone. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's always elements. Like I told y'all where I'm at, so just bear with me, man. In Mark 5, chapter 6 through 13, it talks about a man that was possessed by a group of demons, and that's exactly what happens when people deal with mental illness. Okay, mental illness / mental disorder. Okay, / mental sickness / mental disease. Okay. In Mark 5, verse 9, it says, and he asked him, what is thy name? And he answered, saying, my name is Legion, for we are many. You see that? So the man told you his name is Legion because he's possessed by a group of demons. And when you suffer from mental illness, you are overran with demon attack. Okay? So now, I want y'all to understand this, brothers and sisters. If anybody watching this video got any relatives, any loved ones that suffer from mental illness, I hope that you get a better understanding today. I hope you are truly edified today after I do this video. Okay? All praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right? So now, as I get into this, fellas, brothers and sisters, I want you to understand something. Okay? Mental illness is something you can't see it. Okay? Mental illness is not something you can see for the most part. Okay? With the naked natural eye, you can't look at a person like me and you can look the exact same. But one of us suffer from mental illness. You see what I'm saying? So you're not gonna know it just by looking at a person. Okay? But a mentally ill person is gonna possess sporadic wild behavior disorder. You're going to see, and you're going to know, and you're going to understand what mental illness is when you understand the physical cues. There's physical cues that will tell you when a person is acting out by way of being mentally ill. When you understand that a person is acting out by way of mental illness, then you got to understand this person is not his normal self. This person is demon possessed. This person does not have the ability to be conscious of the wild, sporadic behavior he's displaying. So because of that, brothers and sisters, we have to give grace to these people when they're in this state. So if you don't understand what to look for, and if you don't understand the consciousness of somebody acting out by way of a mental disease, then when they offend you, you're going to react as if they disrespected you and offended you. Not knowing and not understanding they disrespecting you and offending you by way of a mental illness. So when you understand that, you're not going to aggressively harm them or aggressively attack them. Why? Because you're going to give them grace knowing that something is wrong with them, okay? So what am I getting at? A person that's mentally ill has to have an acquaintance or a sponsor. A person that's mentally ill should not be in public unless they have a sponsor or an acquaintance that can speak on why he's acting a certain way. So that way, when that individual offends you or do something disrespectful, his acquaintance or his sponsor can say, hey, please get his brother, please get his sister grace, because it's him or her mental illness that's playing out. It's him or her mental illness is being displayed. Therefore, you have to give them grace. A mentally ill person might not even know they mentally ill if they ain't been diagnosed with being mentally ill. That's even a more dangerous person. So, brothers and sisters, just like in Mark chapter 5, the man that was called Legion, that had a legion of demons on him, aka a group of demons possessing him, we have to learn, brothers, to have compassion for the mentally ill, be conscious of the mentally ill, and know the protocol to deal with these people when they're acting out. The incident at the Hyatt Hotel, obviously this guy was acting sporadically wild and deranged, okay? That personnel lacked the identification of this man's behavior. They treated that man's behavior as a normal person wilding out. And so they restrained him, but the way they restrained him was so aggressive, they killed him. We have to understand, brothers and sisters, we have to understand what the cues are when you're dealing with mentally ill people. You got to understand the cues, okay? When you're a police officer, because a police officer have killed someone here that was mentally ill, that tells me they have not been trained to deal what to look for and how to deal with a mentally ill person that's sporadically acting out. Just like these security guards. Obviously, they wasn't trained to how to deal with a mentally ill person when they's acting out. So what I'm saying to you, brothers and sisters, okay, if you get into an altercation with somebody, you might be getting in an altercation that's with somebody that offends you due to them being mentally ill. They don't mean no harm, brothers and sisters. It's an illness that's taken over. So a mentally ill person, in my humble opinion, if they're going to be in public, they should have a sponsor someone that can speak for their behavior so you can give them grace. But we don't have that. So what happens is you got people that'll pop off on a person not knowing they're mentally ill, and you done severely hurt them. And then later on, you might find out that you severely hurt a mentally ill person. How would you feel? So this is what I'm saying to you, brothers and sisters. Start being more conscious and understanding that there's people amongst you that suffer from a thing called mental illness. So when they act out and offend you or disrespect you or destroy your property, take a second and say to yourself, like, okay, let me think through the consequences. Let me think through the consequences before I react, because this could be a mentally ill person. And if this is a mentally ill person, I got to give them grace. There's a lot of people, brothers and sisters, that are mentally ill amongst us that have not been clinically, it hasn't been clinically determined that they're mentally ill. Why? Because they refuse to go in and get an evaluation. It's people behavior that I see in public, people that I know personally, that I see just in my circle of family, friends, relatives, or whatever, acquaintances, whatever. And in my normal walks of life, man, I can see the physical cues of a person that's mentally ill. The question is, are they clinically diagnosed to being mentally ill? And if they're clinically diagnosed to being mentally ill, then obviously there has to be some sort of medication to keep them calm. Imagine somebody being out in public that's clinically, they're number one candidate to be clinically diagnosed as mentally ill, but haven't been clinically diagnosed. So if that person don't come in and get evaluated, that person is mentally ill out in public, and you come across that person and his mental illness, he has a mental illness episode, and you're the target for that, you might mess around and wild out on this person and not knowing you're supposed to give that person grace because he's mentally ill. He don't know no better. So you give him grace, brothers and sisters. So this is all I'm gonna say, man, as I close out this word. We better start understanding the physical cues and in the spirit, and understand when you with someone, or you up against someone that's suffering from mental illness, a mental disorder that alters their behavior in a way where it might come off like they're offending you. It might come off like they disrespecting you, offending you. I'm just telling you. If anybody that's watching this video have a family member, loved one, friend for that matter, that suffer from mental illness, my advice to you is you should make sure when that person is out, here we go again, when that person is out in public, make sure that they have a sponsor, someone that can speak for their behavior, so that way a person won't severely hurt them or go as far as kill them because they felt they were being disrespected and offended. When the reality of it is, we were supposed to give this person grace because he's mentally ill and we didn't know it. So again, brothers and sisters, if you know anybody that suffers from mental illness, they should not be out in public by themselves, ever. Because when they have that episode, if that sponsor ain't there with them, if that acquaintance ain't there with them to let people know, hey man, don't trip, he's mentally ill, he don't mean no harm. If he do not have that sponsor to be able to do that, it's gonna go bad. And there's a lot of people, man, that's being hurt severely to almost beat to death or killed, simply because the aggressor didn't see the physical cues or be conscious to say this person could be mentally ill, and you have to give them grace, man. That's all I got for you, sincere brothers and sisters. We give all praises, glory, and honor to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh, through His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, for allowing this word to come out. Shalom.